Do you remember playing with Beyblades as a kid? Well, if so, we might have the perfect wheels for you. Meet Rotiform's AeroDisc, effectively Beyblades for your wheels. Before we get into all of that, let's look at who makes them, Rotiform. Here's the relatively short, although it's been like 15 years now, so I don't know how short, history of Rotiform. In their words, they've been making cool beeps since '09. You might know them because of the AeroDisc, but they've made a lot of other stuff along the way. As you can probably tell from their slogan, they were founded in, 2009. What you might not know is this company is based in Southern California. Two car guys, Brian Henderson and Jason Whipple, decided, let's show the industry our take on wheels. Right away, they had the backing of a sizable wheel company called MHT Alloys, which you might know for brands like US Mags, Fuel Offroad, and Niche. We'll talk more about that a little bit later, but MHT gave them the facilities needed to bring their ideas to life. Besides drawing up new wheels, Brian and Jason would carry a lot of the weight for marketing the brand. So how did two guys that are just car guys market car parts? Well, of course, they just build cars. The strategy was to build stuff that would garner attention, use Rotiform wheels on the builds, and then attend as many car shows as possible to show them off. Almost every season, they brought out an absolute banger from their garages, from an Audi A8 to an FRS in 2012 first year, Porsche 964 to CLS 55 AMG. The list goes on and on and on. They featured new cars, old cars, most of them slammed on bags on Rotiform wheels. On occasion, they would even ship their creations worldwide to attend international events. They had some absolutely sick builds that blew up on social media. If you were on the internet in like 2012, Rotiforms were like everywhere. These were the days when the stance scene was at its absolute peak. Shout out Can I Beat, Hella Flush, and all that R&P. Naturally, bag and slam cars was the perfect recipe for getting quick notoriety in the show scene. In the early days, the goal wasn't to make the lightest wheel or the strongest wheel, but something that's fully customizable and will come in the specs that modern vehicles require, specifically modern Euro vehicles. Most wheel manufacturers will start with like the highest end built-to-order three-piece wheels and then work their way backwards because, interestingly enough, these are actually cheaper to make than cheap cast wheels. But Rotiform started off by offering a limited number of wheels. You could get them pretty much any way you want. They had a monoblock cast version, a forged monoblock, or a forged three-piece. The BLQ and NUE are two examples that are still available today and were their earliest models. With their early success, they started rapidly adding new designs to their lineup. A staple of their monoblock wheels were spokes that sit flush with the outermost edge of the wheel, as opposed to slightly recessed, aka there's virtually zero lip on their monoblock wheels. They pumped out new original designs, but also added their own flair to certain classics. The Rotiform SIX is a good example of this. It's a six-spoke, yes, that's six-spoke, but quite a bit different than, say, a T37 while still paying homage. It uses Rotiform's signature styling with spokes that taper plus extend to the outer edge of the wheel. Now, another approach that they took was looking at factory wheels for inspiration. If you browse their massive catalog of custom spec, I think they trademarked that, by the way, forged wheels, you'll find a bunch of retro-looking wheels that look like they could be a monoblock to three-piece conversion, RIP monoblock to three-piece conversions, but they're not. They're clean sheet designs that are a whole lot stronger, have better brake clearance, and can be made in pretty much whatever specs you are looking for. So throughout the first 10 years, the story pretty much continued the same. Brian and Jason drew up new concepts, some based on iconic aftermarket or OEM wheels, while some were completely original creations done from scratch. But they all incorporated that typical Rotiform design language. In 2019, big changes happened when MHT Alloys was acquired by Wheel Pros. If you're not familiar with Wheel Pros, 1, do you live under a rock? And 2, they're basically an even bigger auto parts conglomerate owned by like private equity firms with brands like American Racing, TSW, and many, many, many more. I think it's like 40-something brands. Changes were, of course, inevitable, but the goal was not to upend the brand, which they may or may not have done with certain other brands. Right? Brian and Jason were still given the creative freedom they needed to do their thing, but now new doors were opened courtesy of Wheel Pros. Involvement in motorsports was one such connection. One of these was the connection with Hoonigan, a brand also under the Wheel Pros umbrella. This made Rotiform a de facto provider for Hoonigan's builds, effectively free promo. Rotiform wheels can be found on the Hoonipegasus, guys, why did you name it that? And the Hoonatron, guys, why did you name it that too? And it didn't stop there. They went on to collaborate with Ken Block to make the signature series, the KB1, VCM-E, and GTB. If you want racing heritage, well, you have to start racing. And how about a partnership with Ferrari to do that? This is exactly what happened in 2021 when Rotiform announced they would be the official wheel provider of the Ferrari 296 GT3. The benefits were twofold. Not only did this show that Rotiform could build wheels capable of handling the 24-hour of Le Mans and the Spa 24 hours, but also provided their wheels could look good on exotic cars. Rotiform's involvement in motorsports didn't just stop there. They got involved in drifting, hill climb, rally, and so much more. At this point, they pretty much killed the argument that their wheels were all show and no go. After all, it's not like Rotiform didn't have experience making performance products. They had offered forged monoblock wheels and forged multi-piece wheels since day one. The difference was now they could substantiate their claims. So the AeroDisc. If you haven't heard of Rotiform, from their involvement in the show scene or in motorsport, maybe you know them for this invention. It's like kind of an invention, kind of like a retro thing, but it's the AeroDisc. These are not wheels, but they're rather wheel accessories. They're hubcaps, if you will. The inspiration comes from the WRC turbofans of the late 80s and 90s. The idea behind a turbofan is to create a vacuum that expels heat out from the brake caliper. Turbofan wheels have been available from brands like UDS and OZ for decades. The difference here is that Rotiform set out to make a version that is purely aesthetic, and they don't mince words. It's there to make a statement. AeroDiscs can be installed and removed on a whim, and Rotiform provides all kinds of free graphics that can be printed out on vinyl and stuck onto the discs, which is like a really cool added manufacturer support thing. Running these really is a bold look, and they've been seen on a number of high-profile builds. Recent examples include Mad Mike's Drift McLaren and the retro-themed C4 Vet that both exploded on social media recently. Obviously, these won't look right on every build, so when should you use them? Well, for our money, they work really well on hot hatches going for a throwback valley scene. Another interesting prospect is EVs for kind of like a hyper-modern Tron future cyberpunk kind of look. Think like the i8 and like the Tesla models. Now look at the Rotiform lineup. The LASR and the RSE are the only two wheels compatible with AeroDiscs. They are both cast monoblocks with a little bit of concavity. The LASR is a multi-spoke wheel with a strengthening ring, especially popular in the Euro scene. The RSC, on the other hand, is a wide split spoke suitable for modern vehicles of just about any make or model. We see them on a lot of Mustangs. Oddly enough, they look really good on them. Both wheels are pretty affordable and can be purchased right down below in sizes from 17 to 20 inch. Note that AeroDiscs are for 18 and 19 inch wheels. Only we can still buy the wheels and not run them. Now the BLQ, we had to mention this one. It's one of the OG wheels that debuted in 09 and is still around largely unchanged to this day. This is an original mesh design. Cast options are available in 18s and 19s, while forged monoblock 2-piece and 3-piece versions can be ordered in any size you want. If you want concavity, go for a lower offset. You can also check out the BLQC and the BLQT, which are variants of the original design in concave and directional profiles respectively. Now the custom spec forged product. This is a family of Rotiform's products consisting of monoblock and multi-piece forged wheels. If you browse the over 100 options, you'll find dozens that resemble Tool Factory wheels. Here are some of our favorites. The ARO, inspired by the classic monoblock W140 AMG wheels. The BM1, this is literally my personal favorite Rotiform wheel. It's based on the BMW M1 wheels of the late 1970s. The FTD looks kind of like EG Civic wheels with an extra spoke. The WGR is a simple 5-spoke that looks really, really good on any modern vehicle with big brakes. The cast version is only available in 18s and 19s, but there are so many custom forged variants, including the WGR-S, which adds a strengthening ring, or the ultra-concave WGR-M. The BTL. From our research, this is Rotiform's first and only flow-formed wheel at the time of filming. Sizes start at 18 and go up to 22 with a 12-inch width. This makes him a perfect candidate for big-bodied luxury cars like the 7 Series or a Maybach. We reckon they'd look right at home on a Hellcat too. And if you want to get them forged, don't sleep on the two-tone paint option. It looks really, really good on this wheel. So you might be asking, you gave me all this information, but Jake, should I buy Rotiform wheels? Well, if you want the turbofan style, but you don't want to pay the turbofan tax, go ahead and Google what those cost. You should check out the AeroDisc. Another good reason to choose them is their custom multi-piece wheels. They have a ton of retro and modern designs that you simply can't find anywhere else. If you're looking for budget-friendly cast wheels, the question gets a little bit more muddy. Some of their cast wheels can run like $450 plus or minus, which starts to get into Flowform territory, and I think it's probably a bit of a stretch for a cast wheel. They are also on the heavier side, but this is a trade-off for strength. If you like the designs and you want a reasonably stout cast wheel, you should check out their cast monoblock lineup. If you're strictly on a budget, Rotiform's a bit of a designer brand, so they might not be for you. So what's next for Rotiform? Well, if you kept up with recent news, you know that Wheel Process found itself in a literal ton of debt. While we don't know what'll happen to their respective brands, we can confidently say that Rotiform is going absolutely freaking nowhere. Well, the brand could change hands again and probably will behind the scenes. They simply make too many bangers to outright close the doors and disappear. If you're rocking some Rotiform wheels, be sure to upload them to our vehicle gallery. Click the link down below to do so. Show off your hard work in dialing in that perfect fitment and help others dial theirs in by sharing the parts and modifications needed to make it happen. If you're looking for Rotiforms or any wheel, link down below again. Pick up your set today. Our Black Friday sale may or may not be on depending on when you watch this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. If there's a wheel brand we should talk about next, drop a comment down below. Let us know which one it is. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell icon to turn on notifications, and I'll see you in the next one.